Hello. Today we are going to be learning the last 5 letters in the alphabet. The last 5 letters. Now that may sound like a lot of letters, but they all go together pretty well. So I know you can do it. So first we have Q. This is Q. This is Q. The letter Q says qu, like question. Q says qu, like question. Now you will see that in English, most of the time, almost always, Q goes with the letter U right behind it. Q and U, they are best friends. They're like twins. They're like lovebirds. They're best friends. Q and U together. So, Q and U. Qu. You may have noticed that while you see a Q and a U, you hear a K, W, a K and a W sound most of the time. But sometimes you'll see it spelled Q-U. So, another Q-U word is quick. The rabbit is quick. Quick, very fast. Or quiet. It's quiet. Like a mouse. A mouse is quiet. Another example of a Q-U word is queen. The queen. A queen. So an example of a word that starts with a Q-U, but you don't really hear the qu sound, is quarter. Like the money, quarter, you only hear the k. And so that's because it's a very common word. So we just say quarter instead of quarter. So because it's easier to say since we say it so often. So most of the time when you see a Q-U, you will hear a KW sound most of the time. So we're going to use, we're going to use the letter Q and the question words to learn the rest of the letters. So now you may know some of these question words already, but we're going to go through them anyways. The question words are, there's question marks. Who? Who's that? Who wants free money? Who is talking about a person, asking about a person. Or people. Who? What and when? Other question words. What is that? When is class? What is that over there? What time is class? So what and when? They both ask for information. So, where? Where is school? Is school over there? Where is school? Or, oh no, where is my pencil? I lost my pencil. Where is it? It's asking about location. Where? Or, very simply, where are you from? You probably know that question. Where are you from? I am from China, but I'm also from Pennsylvania. So, where are you from? Why? Why is asking for an explanation. Why is the sky blue? Why do you live in Harrisburg? Why? Children, I'm sure many of you who are parents know that young children love asking why. And sometimes when you're tired, you just say, because, and then that's it. So, and then lastly, we have how. How does this happen? Or, how do I get to the office? How do I get to work? How do I get to the nearest grocery store? So how is also asking for an explanation. It's asking for usually a process or a series of steps. First you do this, then you do that. How do I bake a cake? So how? So how things work. is what that's supposed to represent. So you'll see in all of these question words the letters that we're going to be learning for the end of our alphabet unit. So next, we're going to talk about W. This is W. This is W. W says W. W says W, like watch, like watch. You can also say, I watch TV. I like to watch football or American football. Watch. And you can see it written out, watch. So question words can help us with the W sound. You see a lot of W's. You see who, what, when, where, and why. But if you listen closely, you'll hear, so here's all the W's. But if you listen, the word who actually sounds like huh, huh, who is that? So, even though it's spelled with a W, we only hear the H. As you probably have picked up already, as you probably know already and have noticed, sometimes in English we don't pronounce the exact same sound for every letter the same way. Sometimes letters make different sounds. So who is one of these cases where the W doesn't make a sound. It's not woo, like woo is that, it's who is that? So, and then you can also see in the word how, you have a W at the end of the word. So you can hear how W sounds, huh, ah, woo. So, how. Next, we have the letter H. This is H. This is H. H says huh, like hand. Hand. H says huh, like hand. Now, in our question words, remember we have the how. So that has an H and a W. It's very useful. How. So how do you pronounce the word how? You have the H sound at the front, the O sound in the middle, and the W sound at the end. How. And then we also have the H in the word who, and even though it's the second letter, it's the first letter that is pronounced. It's the first letter that you hear. Who and how. You can hear how they sound the same at the beginning. You can hear how they both have the H sound at the beginning. Next, we have the letter Y. This is Y. This is Y. Now Y says y at the beginning of words, like yield. This is a yield sign. So when you're driving a car, you might see this sign on the road, yield. So, and then it means, the meaning is a bit complicated, but it tells you to do a certain thing when you're driving. Basically, be nice to other drivers and let them go ahead and you wait. So, yield. Or simply like me and you, you. So you can hear that. So Y says y like yield at the beginning of words. When Y is at the end of words, a lot of times it will sound like E. It will sound like the vowel E. So, and we have examples here. This is the word day. D-A-Y. You can hear the y transforming into a E at the end of the word day. And this word, yay! It's for celebration and happiness. Maybe your favorite team just won the championship, or you passed your driver's test. You can say, yay, hooray! And so this word is useful because you have y at the beginning, and then ye. You have the other sound Y makes at the end. Yay! So that's a good way to remember the two sounds that Y makes. Now it makes other sounds besides those two, but those are the ones we need to know for now. And so question words help us with the letter Y. And as you can guess, it's because there's an entire word that says Y. You might ask, why is it like that? Why is it spelled with a W? But you only hear the Y. So, this is a good example of the distinction between the letter names and the letter sounds. Remember, you need to know the name of a letter. When I ask, what letter is this? You say, oh, it's Q. Or, what letter is this? Oh, it's a Y. What letter is this? Y. What letter is this? Q. But then when I ask, what sound does this letter make? What sound does this letter make? You would say qu. Q says qu. Or y. Y says y. So, and then lastly we have letter X. It's like in an X-ray. X as in X-ray. Now, X is also tricky because similar to the letter Q, it usually comes with vowels. But instead of a U behind the X, usually it has a vowel in front of the X. So we don't have many words in English that begin with the letter X. So, and if they do, it sounds like the letter Z, like xylophone. But that's a big word, so we don't need to know it right now. So, question words help us with the letter X. Question words help us with the letter X because the words why and how, if you remember, they need an explanation. Explain. Teacher, can you explain why the sky is blue? Explain. So that's how we can remember the letter X. This is Y. Now Y asks for information. Because. Why is the sky blue? Because of sunlight interacting with the atmosphere. So that's not that important. So because is a word introducing an explanation. So that's an important word to know. Why? Because. So you might hear that a lot. Here's the word I've been saying, explain or explanation. If you're very good with your letters, you can see how the word explain and explanation are related. I explain something. Explain is a verb. I give an explanation. Explanation is a noun. So, this is X. This is X. So, explain. A teacher explains. Or expert. A teacher is an expert. This teacher is an expert in math. It means she's very good at it. She knows all of it. Not all of it. She knows a lot of it, and she's able to explain it to others. Or a doctor. A doctor is an expert in medicine. And then we also have an example with the letter X next to the letter A. So, this is the word axe. So you use it to chop things, axe. So, to review our 5 letters that we learned, I know it was a lot. This is Q. Q says qu, like question. This is W. This is W. W says w, like watch. This is H. H says h, like hand. This is Y. Y says y, like yield. Last, we have X. And X says x, like X-ray, like X-ray. So, good job. Now we're going to quickly practice writing these letters. Alright, so for the letter Q, remember this is Q, and Q says good, qua. Q says qua, like question. It's like, I have a question, I don't know. And it's good to say, I have a question. It may be slightly embarrassing if you don't know, but it's good to ask. So your teachers, I hope, would agree with me. It's always better to ask. So to write the letter Q, you start at the top and make a long circle, what we call an oval, all the way to the bottom line. And then you just put a little line through the bottom of the capital Q. This is a capital Q, uppercase Q. Same thing. Make lowercase q. We start pretty close to the middle line, a little below the middle line. And we start making a little circle that goes up and touches the middle, curves back down to touch the bottom, and then, so this should look familiar. This should look like the letter C. And then we're not done yet. We start at the middle line this time and draw a line straight down to the very bottom, And Q has a tail, like this. This is lowercase q. A bit faster, we have capital Q, lowercase q. Now sometimes you will see a curved tail. Sometimes there will be no tail, but that's confusing. So, but like on computer typing. Now remember, Q is different than this letter. Remember this letter? This is G, like goat. So Q. Q says qu, like quote. Quote. So that's when you say something exactly how somebody else said it. So a lot of famous people have famous quotes, like I have a dream is a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. So next we have W. This is W. W says good, like watch. I can't see my watch. W says like watch. So to write the letter W, you start at the top and slant all the way down to the bottom. And then you're going to make a small slant going the other direction up to the middle. And then have another small slant going down the other direction again. And then to finish, we'll take from the bottom all the way up to the top, one more big slant. This is W, capital W. Lowercase w is the same, but smaller, only touching the middle line instead of the top line. Sometimes you will see it like this, with curves instead of points. It is the same thing. Sometimes you may see W with a little tail. It's still the same thing. This is W. Next we have H. This is H. H says good. H says h, like hand. So, hand. You can wave hello, hello, with your hand. So H says h, like hand. Now to make the letter H, I think it's pretty simple. You start at the top and make one straight line, a straight line down to the bottom, and you do the same thing next to it. 2 straight lines, straight down lines, and then you have a straight across line connecting the two. This is capital H. This is capital H. Excuse me. Now, lowercase h is you start the same way with a straight down line, but instead of taking another straight down line, you start a little bit below the middle, a little below the middle, kind of rhymes, a little below the middle, and you take a curve up and straight back down, up, touch the middle, and to the bottom. So a bit faster, capital H and lowercase h. Good. Now, it's important to have your lowercase h have a tall top, because otherwise it could look like the letter N, and it could look like the letter R even if you're not careful. It could look like the letter B, so that's why this open part at the bottom is important. So a lot of these letters can look the same if you write quickly, so just keep in mind. Tall top and both of the sides touching the bottom. H. H says like hand. Almost done. I know this is a long video. You're doing great. This is Y. This is Y. Y says good. Yeah. Like yield. Yield. Or you. Or yes. Yes, please, I want chocolate. Yeah. So, capital Y starts at the top and you slant to the middle. And then you start a little bit off to the side and you slant to the middle again from the other direction. So here and here. And then you bring one line from the middle straight down. This is capital Y. Now lowercase y, you take a slant from the middle, down. And then you start a little bit to the side from the middle and you go all the way down to the bottom line. This is lowercase y. You know it's lowercase because it goes below this line. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see a curved tail. It's still the letter Y. And it's okay if you want to write a curved tail with your Y, but you have to make sure it doesn't turn into a G. So, this is Y. Y says yeah, like yes. Yes, I know my ABCs. So, almost. Last letter. This is X. This is X. X says X, like X-ray or explain. So X is 2 slanted lines. They're pretty fun. You start all the way at the top and just go all the way to the bottom. And then you start on the other side. Start at the top and go all the way to the bottom. Now, if you're careful and if you think it matters, which sometimes it does, the middle should meet in the middle line. The 2 lines should meet here. But you probably won't be writing many words with a capital X. So you'll just need to know lowercase x, which is the same thing. So I'll write it again faster from the top and from the bottom. And one of the words I mentioned that starts with X, and sometimes you'll see this in classrooms because it's one of the only words that people use in English that starts with X, is xylophone. So that's kind of a big word. Xylophone. It's a musical instrument. Now, this is a good word because look at this. you see a P and you see an H, but it's not xylophone. You don't hear a P. You don't hear the P. So we're going to talk about this set of letters in our next video. So you've done a great job. I hope you've learned a lot, and make sure you practice. You need to know what letter says what sound, and when you hear a sound, you need to be able to tell me what letter it is. So, good luck practicing.